We are live. Welcome. Welcome all. I am late today, but thank you for coming in. I'm going to set up everything on my end over here. Okay, alrighty. Let's do it. Good stuff. Instagram is going. Welcome everybody coming on in. Try to get my stuff set up. Thank you for being here today. Friday. Let's go, let's go. Fannie Mae. Yeah, you mentioned that before. I took a look. It's exactly where it should be. Nothing new. I don't know what about the Fannie Mae chart were you looking at specifically. I just see it down, very, very down, as it should be though. It's where it should be. So all right, I think we're good. Well, we were supposed to start at 9. Usually I start at 9 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific. However, today I ran into some technical difficulties. My computer started crashing on me. So, you know, it's just the way it is. Put it on the 1 year or I swear I'm unsubscribing GPS. We got an upset customer here, everybody. All right. See what we got. All right, I'm almost done. I'm almost done, everybody. All right. There we go. Okay, today we're going to talk about China, primary focus. What's been happening with the economy, how they generally lead in terms of the economy, then that spreads over into the West. That all, I believe, is extremely important. And I want to look into that. I want to talk about that. Any questions you have about any topic, of course, you're welcome to. Instagram, same situation. Anything you got going on, you're welcome to mention it. Happy Friday. He's just kidding. All right, all right. Not an unhappy customer? Okay, good stuff. So I'm seeing 23 likes. Don't forget to hit that like button. Let me know what you guys have been thinking about the channel, what you like about the Money GPS, what you wish you had on the Money GPS, what, things that you're seeing other people are starting, things that are trending that maybe the Money GPS is behind on. I'm always looking for criticisms, feedback, anything positive notes always lift me up, so I appreciate that as well. Tracking people, yeah, there's a lot of tracking going on today, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's certainly, like, you got to understand, China is the beta test for the rest of the world. Just look at the digital currency that's out now. That's the beta test. Dave GPS, thank you for coming on in. Love the Money GPS. Liking the interviews, yeah. The tips, yeah, you're liking the tips? Let me know, everybody. Actually, do you like those tips that I've been adding? I'm trying, obviously, I need to create more of those PDFs. I have like 4 or maybe 5. But yeah, if that's something, let me see how many I have, actually. I have it right here somewhere. There are 5 now. I don't think I covered one of them yet, but I wrote it. I've got it created, so it's just a matter of finding the video to insert it into. But I'm going to have one, let's say maybe 10 or so, and then depending on that topic, I'm going to have tips to give. So let me know what you think about those tips. Liking the tips? Okay, good. a podcast. By the way, all of my videos are on all podcast platforms. So if you're on whatever it's called, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I'm on every single podcast platform. Oh, Birdie got subpoenaed by this is new? I did not see that. That'd be funny. I think they just got to give it up on this whole thing. The Q-tips. Yes, that's right. Don't put them in your... I guess it would have to go in your ear. Makes sense. Liking the tips. Okay, good. Come here for the truth. Liking the tips. Love your stuff. Your thoughts on the meme short squeeze plays. Think they'll squeeze rather than later. Yeah, on Reddit, if you look at Reddit, you're going to find a lot of that type of information. If you look off of Reddit anywhere else and talk to anybody else, they're not talking about that at all. So you got to play it one way. Like if that's what you want to do and kind of just, you want to do that follow the herd type of stuff. Hey, people have made a lot of money that way. But that is one type of strategy that it doesn't often work. So if you hit a home run, you're going to do very well. Otherwise, you're probably just going to lose a lot of money. But you gotta think about that, right? These short squeezes, like we've already had a massive short squeeze GME AMC. These things have already happened. Can they happen to propel them even further? I guess, but it's even more of a risk than it was in the first place. Seeing positive mentions here. Thank you. What do you think about the propaganda versus facts we are dealing with? Well, I mean, there is no shortage of propaganda. Absolutely no shortage. You look around all over the place and you see that. China's not the only place that does that, obviously. If you read the book called Propaganda by Edward Bernays, you'll get a really good sense of exactly what's happening. And how the government is able to basically complete this task that they have, and that's to keep everybody kind of subdued, keep the population fighting against each other, and create general domestic disturbances, and then they're easier to control. How much longer does the repo market keep breaking its own record? Yeah, the reverse repos right now, I didn't check today's, but the last one was 1.35 on the video that I brought to you this morning, 1.35 trillion. I believe it was Zoltan, who's kind of the number one guy in this space. He says it can go between 2 to 2.5 trillion in a single day by the end of the year. So we're not too much further off. At the rate it's increasing, it's just unbelievable. Part of this has to do with the cash balance of the treasury, and that might be changing. I don't know. I'll bring you some information on that when I get it. Thank you for compiling this information for us. It's very much appreciated. Absolutely, Trey. Appreciate you being here too. I try to condense down the information as much as possible. There are some things that I'm looking into right now, and I'm hoping that I can tweak it even more to make it much more. What I'm trying to do is like section off the videos a little bit more. So if I move from, let's say, a topic of the stock market to a topic of, I don't know, debt. Okay. Right now I just go, okay, next topic, next. But I'm hoping to kind of put a little divider in between, like a 3-second, like a transition. And then, and I think that will hold people's attention a little bit longer. I know my actual like hardcore supporters, they love the information. They're going to stick around. But I'm trying to fight against the downward pressure. Like, for example, yesterday I actually lost subscribers. I didn't even gain 1 subscriber. I actually lost subscribers that day. So I'm trying to fight against that. And I'm hoping that if I keep people sort of entertained in a sense, that I can help this out. We'll see what happens anyway. But look for some new little tweaks. I've been pulling out the tweaks anyway for a little while, like including the tips at the end of the video. That's just one thing I've been doing, and there will be some more. All hoping to be positive stuff. Should I sell stocks and invest into something else? If you are all in stocks, then I think that's a big risk, but that's just me. If you kind of have your money spread out, then that's great. I keep talking about it, but a business is really key to have, especially a business that operates online. That's what I talked about in the self-sufficiency PDF and the tips there. Having an online business is important. Let's say you're, I don't know, just a truck driver. Okay, you're a truck driver. That's awesome. That's great because you're in high demand right now. But let's say tomorrow you're not in high demand and you live in Florida. Okay, but now you think to yourself, okay, well, Florida for some reason doesn't need this profession. Okay, I can always move to Georgia. I can move to Carolina. I can move wherever. Okay, great. But if your income didn't rely on your location, if your profession suddenly, you can sell, if you had a product or service that was selling online, you can then, okay, well, I'm not going to sell to people in Florida. I'm going to sell to people in Georgia or to Carolina. You physically don't need to move. You understand? Or if for some reason you have to move, and let's say your customers are in Florida, now you can move to Georgia, but you can still be selling to people in Florida. Or you can then, to Europe, to Australia, to wherever around the world, because that gives you that freedom of mobility in both aspects there. And yeah, you invest in it just like any other business. I recommend Amazon. I have experience in it. And I gave a free course away, the AmazonGPS.com. I actually was thinking about starting to charge $1 for that course. Because I think that once you put $1 onto it, if people even have to spend $1, then they're more likely to actually go through with it. But so far it's free. So if you want it free, the AmazonGPS.com. In fact, I think I have it here. No, I don't have it up here. Did anyone see Powell stumbling over his words on Wednesday when asked about basically insider trading? It was hilarious. And more evidence that yeah. So he basically mentioned, yeah, I didn't see Kaplan and Rosengren. Didn't see. No idea. Yeah, who knows? Really though, I said this in the video and I believe it, that what they were doing was really no different than what anybody else was doing. It's no different than what BlackRock is doing. It's no different than all of these, because they said, we are going to buy these different things. They've made that public. What they were buying was made public. And, I don't agree with the buying of it. I think they shouldn't have anything to do with the buying of it. But it's people's desire that, hey, they, if they want to buy into what the Fed is buying, they could do that. What we don't know is, what is the Fed right now? After the limited audit of the Federal Reserve that happened, we found they gave out $16 trillion. What happened after that? Like, how much money from that point up until today have they given out that isn't actually shown on their balance sheet? I think we were at, I don't know, what was it, 4 trillion at the time, and there was 16 trillion off balance sheet. So 4 times. So, if we're at, let's say, 8 trillion today, I mean, are we at $30 trillion in loans? Maybe more, because everything's gotten a lot worse. Are we at 30 trillion out to who knows where? Maybe. It's crazy. Stop the shipping, more inflation and the shortages. They will. Welcome, welcome. Monaco is good. The only problem with Monaco is, number one, super expensive. There isn't anywhere to run. Okay, you're stuck there unless you got a boat. And also it's a very limited space. It's like, what is it, 1 square kilometer or something like this? So, can't really hide. Although you're amongst a lot of very wealthy people, so. No notification. Uh-oh. Yeah, this I got on very late. So all right. Who owns the Fed? If you read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, it actually gives you the entire breakdown of the setup, who was involved in it, everything. It's the usual suspects. Okay? It's the usual suspects. But if you read The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin, one of the best books I have ever read. It's funny about that book because it's like the first maybe 30% of it. You got way more than, like, let's say the book was $20. You got 30% of the way through that book. You've already got way more than that. $20 were like way, way more. And then the other 70%, you're just mind blown. I mean, it just goes so deep into the financial system. Like, oh, wow. Incredible book. Incredible. So I would read that. Costco bought its own cargo ships. They should hire their own truckers and purchase their own trucks, which will probably already do, but that top-down model will work. It would. I would have to say that if they're investing in all of that, that means prices have to rise. Burry Archive on Twitter shows Burry tweeted that but deleted it. It's part of the GME report by Gary Gensel. You should check it out. Will do. I would check it. Excuse me. Give this man a thumbs up. He puts in a lot of work on this program. Thank you, Jeff. Yes, we got 200 people in here. Only 89 likes. What's going on? We got to hit that like. Where is it? Let me hit that for you. Somewhere in this region, probably. Thank you, thank you. Book advice. Yes, Adam. Highly recommend that one. As well as, Edward Bernays' Propaganda. Fantastic book. Short book. And then G. Edward Griffin's book. Evergrande, what's going on? Yes, Evergrande. It's a huge deal. So as far as I'm aware, they may be defaulting on their foreign obligations. So they're going to pay off the people in China, which is all about that common prosperity, right? You heard that message, common prosperity. If you're a billionaire, you're in trouble in China. So they're trying to do the share of the wealth, okay? We understand this. And then you look at it, what's happening right now. Oh, you got to pay those bondholders locally. Oh, you don't have any money? Well, you're not going to pay your employees. They stopped paying certain employees, at least for one payment. We'll see what happens. And I guess the others are getting paid. Okay, I don't know what they're doing. Some sneaky accounting probably behind the scenes. Who knows? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Jan. I'm sorry about that. Appreciate the support. Yes, I guess I'm a little tired today. What can I say? Is Amazon FBA still a viable income in 2021? 100%. I actually think it is a little bit better than it was last year and better than it was the year before. What's amazing about what Amazon has done is that they've been cracking down hard on the fake reviews. So what normally happens, and still happens today, is that a product goes live and it's a Chinese seller and they just crank up the reviews on a particular product. So they launch a product, it's got 0 reviews. It's like almost instantaneously, it's got tons of reviews, and they do sneaky things. They'll put their price down right to the bottom so that people will buy up their product, and that helps to generate sales. But now Amazon's been cracking down on that. They've been figuring out how to do so, and that's great for people who actually want to have a legitimate business. So even though, it's funny, people used to complain. If you hear the complaints about it, oh yeah, Amazon, they banned me, they suspended me, all this. They were doing something against the terms of service. It isn't very often that somebody's not doing something, at least a little bit gray area, and then gets shut down. If you're just operating the business right in accordance with the rules, it is very, very difficult, okay, to get some sort of ban or whatever. So I would recommend it. It's the AmazonGPS.com if you want to check it out. I don't make any money from that course. In fact, in terms of time, where I make money is the affiliate link inside there. You do not have to use the affiliate link, though it gives you 50% off for the software. If you don't want to even use the software, the software is basically to find a good product, which helps you now to find the product on Amazon or Walmart. So if you're going to try Walmart selling, it applies to that as well. But they give me like a little piece, essentially, when people sign up. That's it. That's the only money that I make on it. Didn't charge a dime for the course. Get those thumbs up. I know you like Bitcoin and cryptos, and you said why you like them. If they don't bust out in a year, will you still like them? Well, I mean, just look at where they've gone. So the way I approach cryptocurrency is probably different than most people, and that is on both sides. Like there's the haters and the lovers. I just have a different way to look at it altogether. I think people are really heavily focused on the price, and I also look at the utility. So there's two pieces of the puzzle, and if we just think about what it can do and understand that it's going to take time. Absolutely. So you look at what China's doing right now. They're constantly figuring out ways to restrict it. They're banning the miners. They're saying anything to do with it is illegal. Everything they can do. So they don't want any cryptos. Okay? They want their digital currency to be used. They don't want people to have the ability to pull money out of the country. They are going into serious lockdown, capital controls of all kinds mode. They are keeping the resources in. They are basically finding the partners. Let us do partners with this, and this. They are shutting out the US in many ways, and they are obviously planning for something much bigger in the next little while. Very clear. It is very clear signs right now. So I look at, there are countries today, even some of the, let's say like, what was one of them? St. Kitts and Nevis. They are very pro-crypto. They say, come, bring it all. You don't have to pay taxes on that crypto. Enjoy it. And I think Austria had something about it. They don't tax people on their crypto. So there's some countries that are favorable to it. So you're going to have the majority of them taxing it or essentially restricting it in some way, and not the crypto itself, but of course either the gains that they have, or they're going to restrict somehow on the exchanges. Whatever, fine, they do that, okay. But you're always going to have a country that looks favorably on it. Why? Because they want people to come to their country. They want people to invest in their country. They want something. And that's why you're seeing a lot of the islands and things do this with the whole citizenship by investment. They're trying to get people to come out in. And so I see long term, it looks like it could be very viable to have all of these businesses having some sort of cryptocurrency and blockchain type assets, used in conjunction. But to say like where Bitcoin is going to be in the future, I mean, I have no idea. I actually wish that it was much less in price. I don't want hype to be surrounding. If you like something, you don't want hype to be surrounding it. Because when Bitcoin was $8,000 or $9,000 a few years ago, and it was there for a long while, people were just, forget it. There was no talk about it in the news. Nobody was saying, let's restrict it and let's do all this. Nothing was happening. It was just quiet and silent. And the people who loved crypto still own their crypto. They didn't sell their crypto. They didn't touch their crypto. And then you had the people who are working on new programs and new things, making it more efficient and so on. They just did what they had to do. But then when the price shot up to 60,000, now at that point at 60,000, I was hearing from people who are elderly and don't know anything about computer. They don't know how to use a computer, nothing. They were telling me, hey, I heard this thing of Bitcoin, did you hear? That's when you know that things are getting too hot and too crazy because it's ending up in the mainstream. Okay. That's my long-winded response to the cryptos, okay? Instagram is asking, why is the price of coffee so high? I mean, obviously we've got the whole supply chain problems. That's one factor. But at the same time, I think it was Brazil who had, a lot of their crop froze over. So they had a big problem with that. They had some, excuse me, they had some frost or something, which hit it hard. Thank you, Sean. Thanks for the tip on the Fed book to read. The Money GPS is the first channel I watch in the morning. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, there have been some fantastic books. Excuse me. Need some water. Cheers, cheers. So there have been some fantastic books I've read. And certainly The Creature from Jekyll Island is one that always stands out for me. Like, once I learned the information about the Federal Reserve, my life changed after that. Because I have this mission to unveil the truth beyond, what we see in the mainstream. People think that the Federal Reserve's actions are actually good. Yeah, they're supporting the stock market. They're supporting my 401k, they're supporting my IRA or whatever. Like, everybody has these accounts, and they think, I don't care what they do as long as my investments go up. Hey, if my house just goes up 20% per year every single year, I'm going to be rich. And that is just not, like, you need to fundamentally understand what this organization is and who it works for. Yeah, frozen fields in Brazil. Yes, yes, yes. Everything is so high because we keep printing monopoly money. That is the underlying issue. No question. You devalue a currency, this is what happens. But people are looking at, well, look at the dollar, it's strong, or the dollar, it's reasonable, it's 95, it's 100. You're comparing the dollar to other currencies. You're not going to get a good sign of what's actually happening with the currency by doing that. You got to look at, compare it to food, compare it to energy, come on. I'm really trying to stress the importance of preparedness for people. Imagine if you spend money on whatever makes sense in your area. If you're in a sunny environment, you can get solar panels, and you, after a 5-year period, maybe a little bit more, you paid that all back. I mean, how fantastic is that you provide your own energy? You don't have to worry about that anymore. For years and years and years, these panels, they may last 25 years in some cases. The efficiency may go down. But anyway, the point is that bill, that essential thing, you need energy. Now you're not paying for it anymore. You paid for it up front, but now you don't pay. And some people even then sell back to the grid so that they make some cash. Depends on your environment, right? If it's not sunny where you live, maybe that's not going to work. But anyway, that's just one thing. Food, same situation. Water. People are harvesting water where they can, and this is great for them, okay? Because they're telling you ration the water, this and that. What if you had your own supply? From an Australian, thank you. What would you do if you were a 7-figure entrepreneur stuck in a socialist Republic of Victoria? So if you want to live there, thank you for the support, by the way, first of all. 7-figure entrepreneur. Can you move? Do you want to move? I mean, that's probably the first question I would ask. 7 figures, you should be able to afford most places. There's a lot of Caribbean nations that are looking pretty attractive for their own reasons. There are places everywhere. I mean, let me think about this. What would you do? Yeah, I mean, you want to have more than one place to live. If you can have a residence in more than one country, like, so you have a citizenship, Australia, let's say, but maybe you got a residence in Cayman Islands, you're very far removed from the two places. That's great. You can operate your business out of Cayman Islands. Fantastic, right? Expensive place, but if you're 7 figures, you shouldn't have a problem with that. And then you can get your residence. You can set up your business there. There shouldn't be an issue for that. But I mean, you got to tell me what you're talking about. You know, if you're the type of person your employment relies on you being there, that's a different story. By the way, you guys can see this. Cash flow, money GPS. Oh, where is it? There. Money GPS. I make all my own shirts. That's right, cash flow. That's what your business got to focus on, because if you got that cash flow coming through, you're going to be doing good for yourself, because while you are, you know, maybe you don't need to live where you are right now. I hope that explains it for you. Okay. Who does the Fed work for other than themselves? Their shareholders, you know, like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Rothschilds, all these groups. They are the ones who ultimately set up the Federal Reserve in the first place. Federal Reserve is just an institution there to do the bidding of others. That's all. Can supply disruptions interrupt spending sentiment? I mean, will people still buy Christmas decor in January? Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Let me tell you something. I think, based on my limited, what I've seen with my own eyes, but also just some other information, I think that businesses over the last year and a half, they've been seeing, okay, there are tons of shortages, there are supply chain problems, there's all kinds of craziness. Let's order double, triple, quadruple, quintuple of the amount. And so we don't want to get stuck in this. At the same time, they're saying, okay, Christmas time, we're not going to have all our stuff. This is when we make, you know, X number of dollars. Let's order the Christmas stuff now in June, July. Let's do that now so that we get it by September, October timeframe, and then we'll have all our stuff. We'll be good. I think that's what's happening. I think that we are, I don't want to say like, it's like fake in a sense. I want to say that we're pulling the future. So what would have been purchases in November are now happening. It was like June, July timeframe, and then the delays and all this stuff, and then so you're bringing that to the present. I hope that my nonsense talking makes sense. I'm investing in solar panels. Good stuff. Good stuff. There's a lot to know about that. It's a big topic, but I think in general, some sort of alternative power, like think about how awesome it is. Like your entire subdivision goes out because of an ice storm, because of this and that, a fire, whatever, and you got the lights on. Like how awesome is that? I mean, even if you're in a suburban environment, even if you're in the city, but you had that going, amazing. Of course, then there's battery backup. You could be storing that in the battery. One of the things about the battery, like the Tesla battery, has the ability. So if you don't even have solar power, let's say you have, depending on where you live, you pay between, these hours, this is the most expensive time. And then, this time is a little bit cheaper. And then the rest of the period is very cheap in comparison. So when are you using your energy? During those peak hours. But the battery will actually charge itself during the cheap time. And then you use the battery power during the peak hours. And then, you're basically, it's automatic. You wouldn't need to touch it. And then you go back on the grid if you overuse your energy. The point is that it pays for itself, potentially, over the lifespan of the battery, which is 10 years. So that's not even getting into the solar panels. Take the solar panels, take it up to the next level. Some areas it may not work for. Some areas it's too expensive. Some houses it's just not viable. That's not the point. The point is that you're providing for yourself and you're becoming self-reliant. Thank you, Raymond. Hello, beautiful humans. The world will be very different in a few short months. Take care of yourself and your household. You help with others. Food, water, gold, silver. Yes, yes, yes. Fix the car in the house. I completely agree with you, Raymond. That's why I'm saying people need to be prepared. Grow a garden, food, water. These are things that you can take care of. And nobody's up. The thing is, like, if you had storable food and you paid, let's just say, a few $100 for this some freeze-dried food, it's in buckets, okay, and you put that in your storage, and you never ate that stuff, that would be amazing. You would say, well, in a sense, you would say, well, I wasted my money, but not really. It's insurance, right? You don't want to use the insurance. You don't want to get into a huge car wreck and total your car and then say, wow, thank God I bought that insurance 5 years ago. I didn't go to waste. No, you're going to be really, not so good. Total your car. That's the point. Not the way solar works. No idea what you're talking about. Seven figures, sell everything, invest in dividend stocks, move someplace cheap. I wouldn't recommend that personally, but to each his own, as they say. In what country would you be getting your second passport? Would you recommend the United States? The United States has some opportunities in some places. I just think that because there's most likely a civil war brewing, probably not the best to be in any of the major cities. So I wouldn't advise that. I mean, yeah. But second passport, certainly, one of the best resources online for that is... No, I'm drawing a blank right now. It's Nomad Capitalist. Nomad Capitalist would be the best resource for that. You could check it out. It depends on your needs and your desires and what you want. You might want beaches, and you might want zero taxes, and you might want cities, and you might want minimal taxes. So, it really all depends. It's not necessarily, some people are just, I'm not a beach person. I need a city. I need to be able to go to different restaurants. I need kind of to be in the woods, whatever it might be. Different scenario, right? It all depends on the person. But there are many opportunities globally. And like Cayman's, as you're saying here, as I talked about before, Cayman Islands is a place where they've got zero taxes all throughout. It's a neutral tax country. They're not going to change that. That's their business model. And obviously it has some downsides. You're on an island, right? There's only so much infrastructure there. They import their food there. So you got to be careful about certain things. So they all have pros and cons. But if we're talking about from an economic perspective, there's obvious benefits. The government itself seems to be relatively stable there. You got to understand that as well, right? Politically, how stable is it? What are they doing to the freedoms of the people? There's a lot of restrictions there right now, at least on outsiders coming in. But there's not that many restrictions right now on what people can do there. They're not telling businesses to shut down and this and that. Hey, if they rely on tourism, they're shutting down on their own. But they're not telling you, you can't do this and these hours and only these people are allowed to come into your store and all that. So you got to look into all that stuff. I think it's important. I bought some cryptos as soon as I heard China made them illegal. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about that. Like, the price going down is kind of weird, actually. So many comments, guys. Thank you for being here. 278 people in the house. We have had 2,700 people here. Awesome. I want to thank you all for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button to tell the algorithm that you appreciated this info. Instagram, you as well. What do we got here? Question coming in from Instagram. Doesn't China have the ability to negatively impact the United States through the intentional supply disruptions? What leverage does the US have on China? So China definitely has the US more so in the palm of their hand than the other way around. Why? debt. China owns over 1 trillion, I think it was like $1.1 trillion worth of US debt. That's so key, so important. And let us not forget that China is the manufacturer for the United States. Nothing is made in the US. Let's be honest, okay? The last thing I bought made in the US, that's truly made in the US, was a Vitamix blender. I bought that in 2012 or 2013. Everything else pretends to be made in the United States, but it's one component out of maybe 15 components that are inside of something. They piece it together there, snap, put one screw in it. Okay, done. That's it. You got to understand that, like, very little is actually made in the United States, okay? And they are changing that big time. So if there's a big battle between the two countries, like a real hot war happens, then you're not going to have, it's not going to be good, because right now what's happening is the US, the farmers right now, they rely on China to buy their soybeans and all these different things. I mean, the United States they're not going to have enough people to buy their soybeans. Okay, it's just not going to happen. They need to ship that out. At the same time, the United States needs China for consumption. They need to buy their debt, or else who else buys it? The Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve's got to monetize that debt, and they're already having trouble with that. Australian Mining GPS has said before. GPS has said before that the U.S. isn't the best place because of social discontent issues and the ability for people to be heavily armed. Yeah, I think it depends on where you are. If you're in a rural area, basically anywhere in the world, if you're in a rural area, you're going to be much better off than if you're in one of the big cities. Doesn't matter whether that's in Italy, doesn't matter whether that's in Australia or US, doesn't matter. Because you just got to be away from people as much as possible, or you have two places. So for instance, you need to go to work, which is in the city. So you have a place in the city, but you also have a place that's 2 hours outside the city that is a rural environment. So whenever you need, you have your plan ready to go, you just pick up and go, you're gone. And because, although things can erupt overnight, you kind of get the sense of what's happening. You see people in one area downtown, they're starting a big problem. Okay, let's just go. So you can kind of have that foresight. But if you didn't have that place ready, you don't have a place to go. All of your stuff, all of your livelihood is there in that one region. So that's the issue. So yeah, you can live in the city, certainly. For people, that's where their job is. That's where the money is. So they have to. But understand that, a stock necessarily I have all my money and I have seen the maximum amount of appreciation. But if something goes down in their city, they're going to wish they had bought that cottage 2 hours out of the city instead of buying those 7 shares of Amazon. That's the point. Cheers. All right. Solar generally shuts down when the grid dies unless you have batteries. I think it depends on how it's wired in. On the 7 figures, I'm sure you could make a bucket load of cash out of all those socialists. All right. Big fan. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Puerto Rico, safe haven for crypto and capital for Americans. In some cases, yes, I do agree with you. Obviously, much lower tax. It's a great way to not have to give up your citizenship. You move there. However, there's talk about it becoming the 51st state. And if that happens, I think you lose a lot of that. You lose a lot of the tax loopholes and things. So that's kind of the concern. So we don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but It would be hard to avoid a recession in 2022, but I don't think the one till several years down the road. Yeah, the next recession may not be the massive collapse. It might not be the global economic collapse. It's going to be a global problem, likely. It likely will, just because of the way everything's interconnected. But is this, the slaughter? Nobody really knows. We don't know how far. I'm sure it's going to be more devastating than what we've seen so far, just because each and every collapse gets worse. So we don't know that. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens, just in a way, kind of like spectating and documenting, I should say, what all the different events day to day. Wouldn't a deleveraging of China's housing sector in the long run be bullish as it cleans out the malinvestment accumulated? Isn't there a bigger risk in the US avoiding deleveraging forever? I completely agree with that. I actually agree with you, Joe. You want this to happen. You want company like this is like people say, like, the problem with 2008 was Lehman Brothers wasn't bailed out earlier. They didn't, make this happen and save them. That's not the case at all. None of those AIG and all the car companies, you let them go bankrupt. Why? Oh, that would be devastating. Lots of people could get laid off. They already did get laid off. So many people got laid off. But you got to think about it. If, I don't know, Chrysler goes bankrupt tomorrow, what happens? Everybody gets fired? No, not at all. That's not how it works. They restructure this. They get rid of this and that. They fix it up. In the bankruptcy, they're forced to fix it up. If they get a bailout, they simply get, basically money from all over the place. Oh, you investor, give me money. Federal Reserve, you give me money. Taxpayer, you give me money. And now we just covered up the problem. No worries. That's the way it works. So they save those people. They don't save you. How many times did they come in and give you a bailout? Did they do that? Did they look at your debt? They see your mortgage. They're like, this guy's got $1 million mortgage. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to give the GPS. We'll give him $1 million. We'll cover all his debt. He's good, and then we're going to top him off. And it's a forgivable loan, which means it's a bailout. Yeah. So no worries. You're all good. How many times did that happen since the financial crisis? How about 0? Thank you for the support. All right. Hey, first time on your live. Big fan of your YouTube channel. Definitely learned a lot from you. What is your view on blockchain technology and digital assets? Yes. So the easiest explanation for that is to check out the Crypto GPS on YouTube. I have a video, the Crypto GPS, and you will see my thoughts on crypto. It just breaks it all down and make it a lot easier. But I always like to separate the price of cryptocurrencies and the actual utility and function of cryptocurrencies. These are two very different things, and I do not like people convoluting the two. That's a huge problem as far as I'm concerned. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency right now? Yeah, so I just explained that. Hope you were listening, but basically, I don't see the fluctuations at all. I don't look at that at all. I think that if you're interested in the potential, like if you read the original Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, read that like from the very top down to the first paragraph. To me, that's all I need to know. It's saying we want something that's just not what this current system is all about. That's it. In theory, the theory of that, I love it. You know what I mean? The theory of it. In practice, maybe we'll see, right? I think it's so much in its infancy. It's way, way in its infancy, more than they make it seem. And that's not a bad thing. You gotta keep working on it. First things are a roof over your head and a decent food pantry. Yeah, 100%. Future business ideas. One of the best, in my opinion, one of the best things is taking stores that have closed down, particularly the big box stores, Sears, JCPenney, and so on, converting them to indoor vertical growing operations to fulfill two things. Number one, you're making use of the garbage malls, the dying malls, and of course, even it would work in like a sort of like a smaller, like a plaza, like a strip mall. And then second thing would be to grow food for your local environment. Okay, because right now you're in, let's say you're in Canada, you want, I don't know, lettuce or something. Does it come from Canada? No. Does it come from the US? Maybe, but a lot of that's coming from Mexico. So it has to travel all of that way to get to Canada. You know the supply chain problems, you know all these issues. Meanwhile, you could have that being grown like much fresher. I mean, if it was all done with robots and robotics, whatever, automation, you punch a couple buttons, the robot goes there, it cuts off the lettuce for you, it puts it in the bag, it delivers it right to you. You've already paid on with it. You walk out the door. Imagine that, freshly picked. You're doing this. You're providing a service. They are like the growers are providing a service to the local community, and they were essentially bailing out the commercial real estate sector. That to me would be fantastic. People can say whatever they want about hydroponics and so on. I think we've got a crisis on our hands here with the food supply, and we need solutions. Especially for cold environments. If you're in a warm environment, hey, different story. And also there's certain things in the air that, probably you don't want on your food, but that's a whole different story. Yeah. What? So for China, just to be clear about your comment, you've been making some comments. Just to be clear, like I said at the beginning, and I do every time, is I have a topic of the day. This topic references things that I've brought up on the videos. I do a video every single day. But people are welcome to ask any question. You're here. I don't restrict anybody in the questions that they can ask. They are welcome to ask anything. The topic is there. If people want to stay on that topic, great. If they want to go off that topic, great. It's all good. This is a free-flowing forum. That's why, and by the way, before I forget, we have to make the video unlisted after. People get upset when they see my live video. They were getting really upset because they were saying, I was sitting through your video and I didn't get it. What's this whole live thing? I guess they're just not sure of what it is. That's why I make it unlisted. It goes away. If you want to get this after, you just go to Twitter or Facebook. It stays there permanently. But we're talking about China. We're talking about the economy. They're all interlinked. Okay. The whole point here is that there's a situation going on right now with Evergrande, with the debt situation, with the China credit impulse that had gone into the negative, that absolutely could get even worse. Who knows? And that could affect you. So you might be in Norway, you might be in the US, you might be in South America somewhere, but it's going to have an impact on you. Handyman, highest paying job by 2030. Certainly it's physical skills are so important. At this time, there's really no indication that the handyman type of work can be replaced by robotics and automation. So some of that can be replaced, maybe a bricklayer, different types of jobs like this, where it's kind of repetitive behavior that can kind of be pre-programmed by a computer beforehand, but something that needs a little bit of, intuition and things that's certainly, but at the same time, like right now, so if you look at it, like remember VCR repair? VCR repair was a thing, and now VCRs don't even exist. But now what happens if, whatever it is that you have breaks, you literally throw it in the garbage because the repair costs are higher than the cost of buying something new. So it depends on those items. Certainly, it depends on the cost of those items. If those items become considerably more expensive, then okay, now I'm going to fix that instead of getting it, just tossing it and buying a new one or buying the new version. For example, if my phone breaks, I'm just going to toss it, or am I going to get a new? Like, what am I going to do? Right. So that all depends on the cost and the cost of repair. Invest in uranium. Yes. So uranium, huge. A lot of people are getting into it. Now Wall Street Bets is getting into it. So we'll see what they do with that. What's going on? Is the world ending? Nope. They haven't destroyed it yet. I haven't looked at oil today. Let me see. What are we at, 75? 74, yep. WTI is currently at 74. It's moving up. But I mean, this is expected. Look at all of the, if you see all of the commodities, they have all gone up, right? All of them have gone up. And oil kind of was, doing one of these, this little chopping motion. And it didn't move up as crazy as a lot of them. So it's actually, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's so important as a commodity. I'm surprised it's not higher. So GameStop to the moon, he says. I don't know about that, but some people think so. Do you think that humanity could unite someday under a common purpose? Do you think this fourth turning fallout can recover, or will the world be more divided? So my honest response to that is that things will only get worse. There's always going to be a small group of people who are good people, honest people, people who want the truth, people who want, just to be nice. And there's a vast majority of people who will step on you. If you fall down to the ground, they will step on you. And that's just a matter of fact. I mean, I've seen it all throughout my life. And sometimes a crisis brings people closer together and they help each other out in times of need. Some house, flood areas get flooded and people just say, come on in. Come on into my house. My house is fine. You can have, I don't have an extra bed, but you're welcome to sleep here. I got blankets, oops, sorry about that. I got blankets, you're welcome to stay here. This happens all the time. You hear about it all the time, but unfortunately it's a minority. It's really a minority of the population. So I think it probably would just get worse, and that's sad. That's just really sad. But I think that what we can hope for, so the hope here is if you can increase prosperity, you deal with less of the problems. There's less crime, there's less everything. So we have to increase prosperity. That's difficult. Yes. I am on Odyssey. BitChute and the other one, I can't remember the name, they didn't work. So for whatever reason, I don't know why they didn't work, but something about the linking of my channel from the YouTube and didn't work. Anyway, Odyssey works if you want to check that out. The exact same videos, and I'm not on the alternatives, but I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google any podcast platform, as there are 7 of them that all of my videos go to as well. Awesome, Raymond. I really appreciate your support again. You've helped so many people with your YouTube channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been trying to bring out as much content as I possibly can within a given video. And now at the end, I'm trying to include those tips. Hope you guys all appreciate those tips. Just because, I specifically put it at the end instead of kind of spreading them throughout, because I figure if you don't want the tips for whatever reason, hey, it's at the end of the video. You just close off the video, no worries. But if you want to hear the tips, they're there for you. And then people can say, look, I'm getting the news and I'm also getting some tips related to it. Hey, this is great. It's financial education at its finest. For some reason on Instagram, it's telling me I have 33 seconds remaining. I have a feeling it's about to kick me off. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know why. Unless they shorten the time that I can do live videos for some reason. There are no nice people. I'm telling you, there's unfortunately too few. And you see it every day if you go to the grocery store. If anyone's ever gone to Costco before, I mean, I've literally been rammed by those massive carts. Like people just smash your cart for no reason. They could just literally just wait like half a second wait and they wouldn't have had an altercation, but whatever. It's all good. I know my live apparently crashed on Instagram. There we go again. No country could stop Bitcoin. That's right. No country can stop Bitcoin, but they can shut down the exchanges. That's where they can get them. They can't stop the actual cryptocurrency. Just read into your comments here. So many comments coming through, guys. Good stuff. And I'm seeing how you're communicating with each other. This is good. We need to form a community based around truth. That's what this is all about. The truth is really the most important factor above all else. If the information is not very nice, we always have to unite around that truth. It's so important. We got to take it for what it is, right? And they're trying to rewrite history. Think about how crazy that is. In many aspects, they're trying to prevent you from knowing what's happening today. And then, I'm sure at a later date, we could rewrite that history too. That is dangerous because you want to learn from history. You want to see the mistakes that have been made and you don't want to make those mistakes again. Imagine if every time you made a mistake at something, you could hit a switch and forget about it. Would you want to do that? Really? Would that be wise? Of course not. Mistakes, they can hurt, they can suck. But you learn from them, you'll be better. You'll be better. That's the way it is. You have to adapt. You have to make changes sometimes, but you can do that. Governments, same thing. Businesses, same thing. I'm not sure about that. Thank you for the support. It's about 1 pence per video I watched over the years. Tell me about how the UK is doing currently. Well, if you're in the UK, you could probably tell me more than I could tell you. But essentially what I'm seeing, so let me give you a personal anecdote here. I sent products, okay, into the UK. It took, this was, let's say, making up a number here, $2,000 of inventory. Not a lot of inventory. Sent it into the UK. It took literally 6 months to get it in. 6 months. I thought it was lost. Okay, then one day it just showed up. Like, what the heck? Okay, that's the first thing. I've been seeing nothing but problems, nothing but challenges in the UK before Brexit. Okay, Brexit has been going on for what seems like forever. They're saying it's done. I don't know. Is it even really happening? Like, is anything really fundamentally changed at this point? I see the problems of Europe in general. Okay, you have to. What all of these countries in Europe, one of the big problems they have, of course, is an aging population. They're not having enough babies. Okay, this is something that has to change. They are not trying to build new industries. They're just, hey, let's take our production and move it to Eastern Europe. That's what a lot of Europe does. Move it to Eastern Europe. We need to be smarter about it. But anyway, that's what the government is up to. But you as an individual, now because of the internet, everything's a level playing field. So you can have your own online business, for instance, okay? Whether it's a service-based business, a product-based business, you can make that happen for you wherever you are. And so I wouldn't necessarily want to rely on the economy there because it doesn't seem like it can get stronger. Now, some countries might devalue their currency significantly to then be more attractive for exports, but that hurts them, in other ways too. So we'll see. What else can I say? You're really heavily focused on the financial, no doubt. Real estate prices extremely high, and in my opinion, no justification for that in any of these cities. Going even outside of London or anywhere else, there's really no justification for homes that cost, in relation to a salary, 4 times or more than they were back 30, 40, 50 years ago. Okay, so there's a ratio. It's not about, there's inflation. The ratio between salary and median salary, median home price, that ratio should stay roughly within a zone, and it is not. That's going on in the UK as well. Politically, there's always issues, but that the UK is always best buddies with the US. Whatever the US wants to do, they're going to be side by side, and of course that keeps them kind of in line with the same overall potential down the road. But I wouldn't rely on anything. Like if you're relying on maybe we'll be stronger, we can do this, the countries generally are decaying in general, and the freedoms are just being taken away considerably over the period as well. So it's kind of going on everywhere. So I would say, message to you, if you're relying, so it depends on what kind of profession you have, what kind of business you have, but I wouldn't rely on the nation. I would build my own thing. Global minimum wages will be pushed soon. I'm not sure about global minimum wage, but certainly they are unifying in. So for instance, if you look at Brisbane, Australia, 2014 November, I think it was, where the G20 sets up, they have a meeting. Hey guys, we're going to do this whole bail-in thing. You remember what Cyprus did? It was really terrible, and it was like unprecedented at that time, and kind of seems like a good idea. Let's do bail-ins. Okay, then, so they all go home, all the finance ministers, everybody, they all go home to their countries, and they start to then implement those bail-ins into their laws. So the G20 didn't create a global law, but they all agreed to those laws in their respective countries. So, that's what I see. That's what I see happening, and that's never a good thing. You want, if you live in Australia right now, you live in UK, you live in Canada, if you don't like something that's happening, you want to be able to say, you know what? No, I'm voting with my feet. I'm taking off. I'm getting out of here, and I'm going to find another place that will appreciate me, my business, my effort, and everything else, okay? And if they all have the same rules, there's really no point. At least read their super chats, even if you don't agree with it. I read all the super chats. What's the... Did I miss one? Is that what you're suggesting? I don't get it. Bingo. David, de facto edit being passed to the world. 100%. Yep. But nobody really sees that, right? Because they say, oh, my politicians on the left or right or the back or the front. I don't even know what the directions are. It's like, you know, left, right, back, front, north. Is it north and south? North and south? I don't know. Whatever directions they've decided to create in the government, it's kind of silly, in my opinion. But a lot of people today, they just forget about who's really in control. And I have limitations of what I'm allowed to say. And a lot of people over the years have told me not to talk about certain things. That's just the way it is. Look, you've been here for a little while. 277 likes right now. 4,500 people have come through here. And if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. It's right down here. Right down here. Hit that. And don't forget, whenever you're talking about your investments, always think of the cash flow. Cash flow, number one thing. Number one. Cash flow. Yeah, thoughts on asteroid mining. I have seen this so many times before. Asteroid 2134ABX has 1 billion pounds of gold on it. If we can mine it, it's worth $100 trillion and something like this. I just don't believe it. They can barely do anything here on Earth. They're talking about the moon and they're talking about Mars and they're talking about all this. I don't know. I honestly don't know about any of that. I'll see it when I just look at it like I'll see it when I believe it. That's what I think of. I'll see it when I believe it. Right now, I wouldn't put a dime into that. If that was sort of an investment or something, I wouldn't even think about it. Because I just think that they're kind of had this pie in the sky, like, hey, we're going to do this rah rah cheerleader kind of vibe, and it's just not getting done. Right now they're working on these rocket ships and things. Who knows what's even going on with that? I mean, it's so far off from where I don't even know why they're doing this anyway, to be honest. But I think something strange is going on. But you got to watch out what I say. Okay. How the hell is... Okay. Just reading through your comments, guys. Okay. So we got people coming in all over the place, all around the world, 260 people in the house right now. And, while this video can be about China, we're really talking about everything. I've got about 15 minutes or so left. And I just want to thank you all for your support in general. I'm looking at the comments every single day. As you know, I try to give the likes and the hearts. I try to comment as much as I possibly can. A lot going on, and of course the financial aspect of the channel, not doing good, but that's besides the point. I'm just trying to do my best to bring out the truth, and if people want to watch it, they're welcome to do so. I know there's a lot of newer channels that have come out, and they've got the flashy this and the flashy that. I do what I can. I see, occasionally I will watch something else, but I won't actually watch the channel because I'm interested in the information. I'm watching more as a YouTuber, as a creator, trying to figure out what are they doing, why are they getting so many views and this and that. I generally find that they give a lot less information, which I kind of find weird in a way, and they're doing very well. So I almost think that people want to get less information, but make it seem like it's a lot. Like if I tell you you're learning, but give you very little data and it's more just fluff, I feel like the channel would perform better, but it's not, I wouldn't be doing a service to you. I don't know. It's just really strange the way what I see that's in this sort of financial economy kind of channels. There are some that have been quite successful and newer ones that have also been successful. And I'm just not sure what people are particularly interested in when I look at it. I find it a little odd anyway, but it's just the way it is. The average attention span of a viewer is 7 seconds. You need something to happen every 7 seconds to keep them engaged. Only advice I can give. I appreciate that. It's hard. It's hard when you're talking about this stuff. Did you wing your YouTube channel at the beginning, and did you have a detailed plan to start? No detailed plan at all. My intention was to write many books. Like, I wanted to be an author. I didn't want to be a YouTuber, and I just started making videos and thinking, hey, this would be a good way to make some, bring some attention. But I'm really just interested in writing my own book, and then maybe I'll get like the book to be published later. Like that's kind of what I was thinking, and then it just went down that pathway, and then. In about 2015, I started realizing what the censorship and everything long before you're starting to hear about censorship 2018, 2020, like this time frame. But back in 2015, I started talking about it a little bit, just saying like, hey, when I talk about this, like this is happening. And, I started recognizing the patterns and different things of what I could say and couldn't say. And then obviously financially it was terrible. But this is not my only business, obviously. So that in that respect is okay. It just takes a lot of time to make these videos, and then, financial compensation is low. So like, that's why I see the other channels and I wonder how they doing this, how are they getting all the views? Because ultimately more views, that means more people watching the ads, which ultimately pays people. I don't want to, like I've been asked many times to do some sort of private sort of, give your information, but only on this private area. But I don't want to do that. I want everything to be free. And then, hey, if you watch the ads, that pays me, right? That's fantastic because everybody wins. But it's just difficult when, the ads either aren't paying, or people using the pop-up blockers, or quite frankly, just not getting enough views. So that's the challenge I'm having right now. I did the YouTube Shorts, received a lot of complaints about it. People were saying they actually had a few people say that they unsubscribed because of the YouTube Shorts, saying that they hate it so much. A couple other people said, please don't do this anymore. Then I started making them, like, I would do the YouTube short, but I wouldn't actually send a notification, so that, hey, you come to the channel and you would see, oh, there's a new video here I haven't watched yet. So you can click and watch it. But, there were so few actual views on them. I was wondering, well, maybe people don't like this anymore. So I was doing that for a while there. I didn't like you at first, but now I think you're doing a good job. Well, I appreciate the honesty. Appreciate that. Meet Kevin is the dip buying douche nozzle with a few. There's a few people out there. I don't want to say any names about anybody, but I think there's one it has millions of followers, and I look at it and I watched before, and I really truly believe that for these people, it's just a business. They don't care what they're saying. They really don't. They really don't. Not that they're trying to hurt anybody. They're not scamming anybody, but they're literally, the video is designed to maximize the amount of money that person makes. And you know what? For that person, good, great. But I always think of, like, provide value and then don't worry about the money. The money is going to come. That's not the important part, right? You want to provide the best service for your customer. And if you can give that free, that's the best thing. That's the way I look at it. But I see this channel and I just look at it. I mean, this is really devoted to maximizing the guy's income. And if you think about it, if you run a business, you want to make your income, right? But I just would find it very disingenuous if I'm out here not giving you the deeper layer. Like I can just give you the Bloomberg layer, Bloomberg and CNBC, but not connect any dots and hey, buy this, and then end off every video with, hey, I'm buying the ETFs. Good stuff. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. I could keep saying that and I would get probably a lot more viewers. Interview with George Gammon. Yeah, he said he won't come on. Billy, I appreciate what you do, even though I don't always agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We don't have to agree, but we just have to kind of have the same kind of outlook. And that is, hey, we want truth, we want freedom, we want prosperity, this and that. You're going to say this, I'm going to say that, but hey, we're cool. George Soros. Emperor Palpatine, I think that's who it is. Money GPS number 1. Tesla question? Do you have it? I didn't see it. If you've got a Tesla question. Tesla question. You have a good show and you're a good presenter. Thank you very much. Is it Jeremy? Oh, that person. Okay, I don't. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. I don't know that. I've never watched it, but I think I know who you're talking about. Graham's. Good guess. Interview Jim Grant. Yeah. You know, for the interviews, I will be doing more interviews. Right now, things are a little bit chaotic. I absolutely will be doing interviews, even though specifically the interviews performed extremely poorly. Extremely poorly. In fact, one was so bad, Profit Market was so bad I apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry I wasted your time. So I just felt really bad for that. So I guess I have to watch who I'm interviewing and just kind of give people not what I think is cool and what I enjoy, but more just what people would want to see. So, which is kind of sad, but anyway. YouTube is faking the stats. Yeah, I do. I think that there's definitely in some regard, there is manipulation happening. You got to get on some bigger channels for interviews. Yeah, I used to get interviewed previously, but I think I rejected people so many times that they stopped. Janet Yellen dancing. Well, that's a private thing for just Janet and I. So Janet dancing would only be for me. It wouldn't be to share with everybody else. I watch and subscribe and don't use the malware pop-up blocker stealing my info. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate that. I hate shorts, but I just don't watch them. LOL, I wouldn't unsub you for that. That's silly. Yeah, I've been unsubscribed, or at least people have told me they've unsubscribed for pretty much any reason you can think of. Andrew Henderson said that he wouldn't come on. From Nomad Capitalist, he said he wouldn't come on. Actually, to be clear, to be honest about that, they emailed back asking me to clarify exactly what I want. And I said, hey, we're going to talk about nomad capitalists. We'll talk about this and that. And then they never replied back to me. So if he doesn't want to come on, it's okay. All right. Maneko64 is a great guy. I bet I've heard of him. Heard of him. So many comments, guys. Oh, here we go. Tesla broke a major structure to the upside today. You think Burry is still confident in a short position? Yeah, that's the thing, right? You never really know until later. You never really know. So he may have made that change suddenly. Or maybe he sells off some of the positions and kind of waits it out, sees what happens. I think right now in general, the markets could absolutely move up at this point. Why? Because we know there's not going to be any form of taper, at least through October. We'll see what happens, as the Fed speakers come, but probably until the November meeting, it's all clear, no worries. If they pass the next infrastructure bill, get some stimulus checks out to people, why not? Why can't the market just go up? If it's going to go down, it's going to come down a little bit. The Federal Reserve hasn't tapered yet, so the market's real easy. So hey, why not? Why not? Why not just have the craziest market ever? Why not build it up to be then the biggest crash we've ever seen in history? Hey, why not? It's all good. Like the market not going down is such a bad thing for everybody, even people who are heavily invested, and they just don't realize that. So I don't have a producer. I don't work with anybody else. There's just no money in it. If the business had more money, I would love to hire people and do all kinds of stuff, but unfortunately it doesn't. Nomi Prinz, yeah. Interview Peter Schiff, yes. I really yeah, there's a whole bunch of people anyway that I want to interview. Fake meat. I don't know why anybody would want this, but hold on. Are we talking about the stuff that's made in a lab, or are we talking about sort of the Beyond Meat type of thing? I think some degree, it might be there. It's grown in popularity for the Beyond Meat type of thing. Some of it's maybe a fad, but the stuff in the laboratory, I don't know. I think they could just, if meat, let's say you're buying, I don't know, a steak or something, and the steak is $10 and suddenly it's $40. It's probably many people aren't going to buy it. But if the fake stuff is $10, some people might buy it. They say, let me try it once. I'll try it. And they try it and say, it's not bad. I put a lot of barbecue sauce on that. It tastes fine. So I think kind of that might happen. So, the $40 steak you're not going to have, or maybe once a year on your birthday, you might have that real steak. But in between, you're going to have the fake stuff. What it does to your health, I have no idea. Graham, Jeremy, and Kevin are all the same. Yeah, they've been very successful, right? They've been very successful at pumping up their channels. It's done really well for them. Oh, my goodness, it's an hour 30, guys. I'm going to take off momentarily. I'm just going to go through the bottom of the never-ending chat, and we'll see what happens. I'm hoping to get to 300,000. It's been a long time. What am I at? 269,000? Almost 270,000? It really just really slowed down. So, but it's all good. Jeff Berwick, I would be concerned about what he would say, because I got to watch what I put on my channel. I have to bleep out half of it and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I've watched his videos previously. I've been watching a long time. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Love your work. Thank you. Don't be a party pooper, he says. Thanks for your time, Matt. I'll get at least 3 more subs for you tonight. Awesome. Thank you. Yesterday, I lost subscribers. I don't know how this works. Like, so many people tell me every day that they say, oh yeah, I've been unsubscribed from you. I watch your videos every day. Like, why would YouTube unsubscribe people that are watching every day? I mean, that, to me, that's strange. That's weird. And yet I've got countless like the spam email. They can't fix the spam thing, but they spend time unsubscribing people from my channel. I mean, it's weird. And I'm not the only one that has the spam thing. I see it everywhere. But anyway, awesome. 4 years. Thank you. Just subbed. Yes, yes, yes. I share your videos. Thank you. I'm subbed. Okay. GPS, how about CBDC? I think that they could implement the CBDC using UBI. So they could say, hey, you want free money? Sign up to the CBDC. That's the way I think. The rain poncho, hey, those aren't going anywhere. Stick around. More rain ponchos coming. Use the insiders. Yeah, if you sign up at themoneygps.com, then you can guarantee to get the email of the day 5 days a week. I email it to you, and then that way you're sure to get the video of the day. I only email that 5 days a week and nothing else. That I do not send any other mail out to people. Still here and didn't get the bells. Yeah, it doesn't notify most people. It's crazy. Okay. All right, everybody, I'm off. Thank you very much. I will be back tomorrow. So check me out, hopefully at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Don't forget to be here for the Money GPS Live. And of course, if you haven't watched today's video, definitely watch it. A lot of detail. And tomorrow's video, big details coming in there. So definitely check me out on those. Thank you all for being here today and taking your time out to be with the Money GPS and those who love the truth.